Hi, welcome back. We're taking another look at Paradise Lost, and we're going to start with the beginning of Book 2. Book 2 features a few main parts. One is the Council in Hell, and then there is Satan's journey to escape Hell through the gates of Hell, where he encounters his daughter and former concubine, Sin, and their offspring, Death, and then he continues on his way towards Paradise. But we're going to take a close look. We're going to do a close reading of the opening lines, which I think are interesting in terms of some of the questions that have been raised about Satan and what role he plays in this text, and why a religious poem about justifying the ways of God to man spends so much time on the devil. Now, as I mentioned, Milton begins each of these books with these what are called these arguments, these prose summaries. The consultation begun, Satan debates whether another battle to be hazarded for the recovery of heaven. Some advise it, others dissuade. A third proposal is preferred, mentioned before by Satan to search the truth of that prophecy or tradition in heaven concerning another world, and another kind of creature equal, or not much inferior to themselves, about this time to be created. Their doubt who shall be sent on this difficult search. Satan, their chief, undertakes alone the voyage, is honored and appointed. So it's a little bit dense, as you can see. It doesn't necessarily clarify things too much, but it gives you a sense of what's in each chapter or each book and what's happening. But I want to look at these lines here, the lines that open, right? So where we left off, all of the the fallen angels in hell had built a city called Pandemonium, right? Which literally means Pandemonium, all the demons, the place of all the demons. And this word actually comes from Milton. Pandemonium is a word that this text gave to the English language. And then we begin, smash cut, Satan high on a throne of royal state, which far outshone the wealth of Ormus and of Ind, or where the gorgeous East with richest hand showers on her kings barbaric pearl and gold. Satan, exalted, sat, by merit raised to that bad eminence, and from despair, thus high uplifted beyond hope, aspires beyond thus high, insatiate to pursue vain war with heaven, and, by success untaught, his proud imaginations thus displayed. This is all an opening of a quotation, right? Now a speech will begin, where Satan will address everyone. Powers and dominions, deities of heaven, for since no deep within her gulf can hold a mortal vigor, though oppressed and fallen, I give not heaven for lost. I imagine all the devils going, hurrah! Because they're in hell and are suffering. Anyway, but let's look at this description, this setup, and what Milton is doing here, how he's setting the scene, what he's saying about hell, about Satan, but what that, in turn, is saying about human ambition and human glory. Because if epics are about human ambition and glory, Satan's using the epic to explore these themes of sin and salvation. He's using this sort of expectations about epic, right? So the first word is high. And I would challenge you to look at all the different places that the word high gets used in Paradise Lost, particularly with respect to Satan. And this imagery of height is picked up a few other places, right? So he's high. Where is he? He's high on a throne of royal state. And what kind of royal throne? A throne which far outshone the wealth of Ormus and of Ind, or where the gorgeous East with the richest hand showers on her kings barbaric pearl and gold. So two little epic similes to modify the throne. This throne is wealthier. It outshone the wealth of the world. And of course, in Milton's time, Ormus, what's Ormus? Let's see. What's Ormus? Hormuz, an island in the Persian Gulf and center of great wealth generated by the spice and jewel trades. So, of course, Milton's age is an age when global trade is grand in commodities and overseas exploration is greatly expanding. So this image of Eastern wealth, of the opulence of the Middle East and of the South Asia and China is something that's very much part of the cultural imaginary of Milton's day as more and more of this stuff is being taken back. But he's imagining Satan's throne of royal state. Remember, Satan. This is a potentially problematic thing for Satan, this royal business, because problematic thing for Milton, because Milton was a guy who cut off or defended cutting off the head of the king. He was part of a political insurrection that deposed a monarch and set up a republic. So, he doesn't necessarily have positive associations with monarchy. So I think it's significant that he depicts Satan as a monarch, with a glorious golden shining throne. So high on this throne, Satan exalted sat. And the word exalted is another word that means raised up, right? It's from a Latin root altus, meaning high or tall. The word alto is somebody who sings at a high volume, right? And altitude is your height. So he exalted sat, by merit raised. This one is interesting. What kind of merit attaches to Satan, right? What do you think of when you think of merit? I think, like meritocracy, that, you get, if you work at a job, you get merit pay, you get a merit badge. If you're a scout, merit, is worth, right? But he's by merit raised to that bad eminence. And I love, Milton, for all that he loves his big fancy words and will use as many as he can. And like Shakespeare, he will make up all these words from Latin and Greek and introduce them into English. But he can make good use of the simple little basic ones too, right? So that bad eminence. Eminence is another word, actually, that means literally, it has a material meaning of like sticking out. Like an eminence is like a promontory or part of a mountain that juts up. But this is a bad eminence. And from despair, thus high uplifted beyond hope. Once again, high. But where, how high? From despair, high uplifted. Well, that sounds good until you get to beyond hope. How can you have merit be raised in merit? How can you be eminent in a bad way? How can you be uplifted beyond hope? Well, maybe it's because, I don't know, he aspires beyond thus high, insatiate. Like satiated is full, like you're satisfied. He is insatiate, he is unsatisfied. He is not done with pursuing vain war with heaven. And by success untaught, his proud imagination thus displayed. And success, I think Milton here is using success. This is one of the places where things that makes Milton difficult, because success for us means a good outcome, right? Success, is what you want. And I think the meaning was tending that way towards Milton's day too. But Milton will often play on the etymological meanings of words, where he'll use a word in its original, in the meaning implied by its original Latin roots, rather than in the meaning that was more generally been given them. So that success here, this refers to the outcome, good or bad. Satan so far has remained untaught by his success, which is his banishment to hell. Success literally comes from a Latin word that's related to succeeding, in the sense not of like winning, but of following, right? To succeed one to the throne is to follow one to the throne, to come next. Success is literally, in its original sense, what follows. So by success, by the outcome, by what had happened from his original vain war, he's untaught. And vain is a good word too here, right? Because vain, it means both pride, right? As you know, somebody who's vain, they look in the mirror, they take lots of selfies, whatever. But it comes from a Latin word again, vanus, meaning empty, right? So his futile, and we still use it. That sounds like you did this in vain, right? So much is happening in these first lines, right? He's high on a throne. He's exalted. He's raised by merit to bad eminence. He's high beyond hope. He's untaught. And And this is setting up everything that follows about Satan in a lot of ways. And I guess the question is then merit, and what does merit mean? And really that depends, I think, on who is assigning merit, right? Merit is in a sense subjective. And, we use that sense, the word subjective, to imply that things have a value or a meaning or a worth that we attach to them. And we sort of make a binary between subjective and objective. And this is really, that binary is in so many ways a product of the 17th century, the age of Descartes, the age of Locke, the age of this emerging idea of people not as sort of members of larger clans or families or units, but as sort of what's called atomistic individuals. Everybody's a little atom, sort of just hurling through space, living their own private life with their mind kind of contained in their body. And in a way, Milton's Satan, is a reflection of this new philosophical conception of human beings, where subjectivity is attached to this sense of seeing the world through your own perspective, and which can be good, but it also can be the grounds for intense self-delusion. And I think there is a link between some of the themes that we explored in Faustus and Milton's Satan and Paradise Lost as well, in terms of sin and damnation and temptation, but also the idea of, when Beelzebub appears to Faustus and says, I am in hell. And he's like, you're not in hell. So what am I worried about hell for? He's like, oh, I'm in hell everywhere I go, where I'm always absent from God's presence, so I can never escape hell. And this is an idea that Milton picks up too. And Satan tries to warp this, and he says the mind is a place of its own and can make a heaven of hell and a hell of heaven. Riffing on Hamlet, actually, I think says something very similar. So it's all part of the age. It's all very interesting. But this whole idea of merit raised, right? To merit comes from the idea of judgment, right? Merior is a Latin verb meaning I judge, I esteem, I have this opinion about something, right? So whose merit? Who has raised him to bad eminence? What does it mean to be raised at the bottom? What is it? And he will say, I will, elsewhere, he will say, I will be the one who fights for you. I will be the one who will serve above you. And which of you would envy me, since I will be the closest then to God's wrath and first to be struck by him? We'll continue in the next video with a brief overview of the events that happen in Book 2 and some of the key passages.